Painful Lessons Podcast with Tyler Ramsey. I'm really pumped. We have this guest today that I love. It's one of my favorite people. We're here with Tom Schwartz from Vanderpump Rules. I've known him for quite a while. He has managed to turn his vibe on reality TV into something so much bigger than I think nearly any other participant has been able to do. He has these amazing restaurants. He has these amazing bars. And it's all because he is just a sweet guy and so humble. And he, I think, was just really good at being authentic to himself. And people dug it. And he's turned it into something like fantastic. And I'm so excited that he's here. Tom, welcome to Painful Lessons Podcast.
Tyler fucking Ramsey, it's really good to see you.
Listen, you know what I remember so well is maybe 20 years, maybe 15 years ago, I was working for Tom's Shoes and I had a gig painting shoes, hand painting each shoe. And I may have painted over the course of a couple of years, hundreds of thousands of pairs of them. But you personally helped me paint probably 4,000 pairs.
About 4,000.
How? Okay, so and that it was just you and me, and then this other guy, John Pringle, who we were all in this warehouse together in Valencia.
Yeah.
And also you, I know you because you went to school with my wife.
Yeah, me and Jackie went to the same high school. Shout out to Woodbury High School. Shout out to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've redeemed myself because I almost had my Minnesota stateship revoked because I hadn't been back in, 16 years. But it was good to go back and just reacquaint with the motherland. Pledge my allegiance and apologize for not being back for so long. But yes, man, I knew you before Vanderpump Rules when I was grinding it out, never saying no to a job, bartending, modeling, commercial stuff. But I loved our time together.
You were great.
It was very peaceful. It was kind of not therapeutic, but maybe like meditative. I remember I would go into a zone and it was very peaceful because like we were talking about before we started rolling. I've had a tendency my whole life to go through these little mini bouts of like worst case scenario hypotheticals. Yeah. And I struggle sometimes being in the moment. I don't spend hardly any time in the past, but I spend a lot of time in the future, and not in a healthy way. But I remember very clearly being in that studio with you, and for whatever reason, when I was in there painting, I just felt very in the moment. And by the way, I've low key secretly I've always wanted to be an artist. Do I paint on a regular basis? No. And I know you can't just wait around for inspiration. You got to just do it.
The lifestyle of an artist is spectacular.
I'm walking into the studio. For people who haven't been in here, we're off Moore Park in the Valley, which is one of my favorite streets in the Valley. I love Studio City, and this space is something special, man.
Thank you.
Because I woke up kind of feeling, I don't know, not super excited about everything. I got to be honest. There's some problems at the bar. My dad hasn't been doing great lately, but I don't know, for some reason, like any sort of angst I had when I walked in here dissipated. It's such a cool space and I feel inspired. I want to like start painting. I want to create something.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
There's art everywhere.
Yes.
It's a giant space.
Yeah.
And, I try to access like good vibes. I want to be surrounded by good vibes.
Yeah.
When I first started painting, I was probably addicted to like 10 drugs. I had a drinking issue, and I thought of myself as a pretty happy person. But the art that I made when I was getting started is so dark. Looking back, it's so dark. It kind of scares me. And the stuff that I have, especially lately, especially since I don't know if you know this, but I've been sober for like 3 years.
Yes.
Best time of my life.
Yeah.
Like happiest, best everything. And I have to almost refrain from all of a sudden puppy dogs and on top of a rainbow, on top of in some ways, my inner dialogue is, come on, dude, keep an edge, as opposed to just like, I'm a Care Bear. Life is so happy.
Look at you all ethereal over there.
Right.
I feel like I walked inside of your mind when I came in here. You know what I mean?
That's the deal.
I feel like this is a projection of I don't know a ton about you, but it's such a great space, and it's just full of positivity, and I'm inspired.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious to know, where did you get the audacity to be like, I'm gonna be an artist? Was that just always in you?
It's a great
Or
question.
did you have a moment, an epiphany, or was it a cerebral thing, or did it just start happening?
So I think you know this. I moved to LA because I wanted to tell stories, and I've written a few scripts, and then my roommate and I even optioned one of them, and it was I love telling stories, and at one point I got very impatient with the interaction. If you write a script, best case scenario, you show it to someone and they won't even read it for weeks. Actually, no, that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it's going to take someone an hour and a half to read it.
Yeah.
And I would never get the reaction I want. It was never fast enough. And so visual arts is immediate. It's an immediate, like, I can show you something and there's no delay. So when I was trying to be a writer, I made money making reality TV shows.
Yes.
I worked on Survivor. I worked for MTV. I directed shows for MTV. I've like been able to travel the world, and I love my experience in reality TV. But I had a legit voice from God that told me, dude, you're getting close to your ceiling here, and you should dive into being an artist. And it was a legit like voice.
And you listened to
And
it.
I listened to it, and I dove all in.
Were you like, did you have any doubt? Were you like, this is crazy? Or
Yeah.
did you just have absolute, not confidence, but I guess I'm looking, just like vision of just clarity.
Fear?
Did you have clarity?
I had clarity.
You
a
did.
clarity of purpose.
Yeah.
Filled with massive fear.
Okay.
And also incredible self-doubt and incredible, to tell myself that it was such a high mountain to climb. To be able to sell one single painting, I feel is an Everest-sized mountain. But it just worked. So many beautiful things happened right away.
So it was, you were struck with inspiration, but also you were disciplined too, right?
I was very disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disciplined.
That's a key, like, because I've learned, man, just waiting around for inspiration, it just never works. I get it's like heavily inspired maybe once every 2 weeks, where it's like undeniable and there's like something, some sort of larger force driving me.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting around for those days, and like the rest of the days in between, I'm so much more disciplined than I used to be now, but still not as regimented as I would like to be. And yeah,
I have tried to have talks with you where and in many ways these are silly, because I remember having these talks with you and feeling like I really had some advice to give you. And it was because I had seen so many people in reality TV like burn hot, but then all of a sudden things fade away. And I thought, dude, I remember giving you advice. I'm like, dude, you're so funny. Why don't you start working on becoming a stand-up comedian?
I remember this.
I still feel passionate that that's an angle that you should pursue. But and then in many ways, I also felt silly because I'm like, geez, he's done more with this than anyone or I could ever expect. So, but here's the question. So much of this, your success is in some ways out of your hands because you're just being you. So you have to depend on, number one, the whole show, the whole series going forward and all of this. When you get inspiration, what do you get inspired to do?
Usually write or ideas for how to enhance the patrons' experience in the bars. Okay. I'm kind of obsessed with the bars right now.
Tell me.
All consuming.
Set a context. So it's like these bars that you're talking about. Even I know them, but like set a context. Tell me what's
so
in
it's
your
like
mind.
We went through a rough patch there after my buddy had he had this big affair, and our names are both on the side of the building, and we were sort of inextricably linked to that affair. It was like, he was the face and that was the place.
Your buddy Tom Sandoval had an affair.
Yes, which is it's in the rearview mirror now. We've all moved on, but it for a while there,
but the response was so incredibly violent.
It was insane. it got really dark. I saw like a side of humanity, like mob mentality that I hadn't really seen before. But it's like they had a place where they could apply pressure on us. And they did that, you know. And I'm not crying about it anymore. We're persevering and we've moved on. But it sucked because we had just put I put a considerable amount of money in this place, time, energy. I put my soul into that place, and then to have it just kind of like go up in flames, it really sucked. It was probably the single hardest thing from a business standpoint I've ever had to deal with my entire life.
Be specific like how was it targeted and what was
I'm be careful not to have like a victim's mentality about it because we're
that's fair because you don't. I don't get that sense, but I do want to I just want to establish a context if someone doesn't know.
Yeah.
Because this is called Painful Lessons Podcast, and it doesn't make sense unless someone understands at least pain that's involved in order to learn a lesson and to grow.
Totally. It's just that, So this was like our you would say our sophomore project. You know, we're minority stakeholders in TomTom, but I learned a lot. I got my foot in the door there.
Okay.
And it was, for the most part, you know, it was fucking fun. It was glamorous and it was fun. And you know what? You know, we rolled up our sleeves after that, and we're like, after a few years, we're like coming out of the pandemic, like, let's open our own bar. We're ready. We're ready for this. So we partnered up with my friend Greg, and man, it's just I was a little naive, and I think I got caught up in the paradox of choice. It was like a piece of art in my mind. I was thinking about it as an artist almost instead of a businessman. You know what I mean?
Well, anyone that enjoy like the idea of owning a bar is, I think, like, it's probably as much of a dream as for any dude, probably any person. I mean, it just seems so, it's like people come and they have a great time and it's in your home in a way. I was like, of course, I can see it being an ultimate art piece. And you were a bartender forever,
server. And it's just, the problem is, you know, we had limited funds. It's always about time and money. And we eventually almost ran out of both. But like, honestly, we piecemealed together. We finally got the place open, finally got a manager, finally got like a staff, and we finally had some momentum, and things are going pretty fucking well. It was starting to feel like a dream come true. Not perfect, but we were in the black, and you know, it was fulfilling, and we were developing a pretty solid reputation for ourselves. And then, you know, the whole affair happened, and we went from like 4.6 stars to like 2 stars in like a month. We got, I know, I laugh so I don't cry, but like, it was insane. And then having to see like, just like bombarded with like negative reviews and hate. And sometimes people would be like picketing outside. It like reached a fever pitch. And like people like graffitiing the mirrors, and like, it got a little, you know, if it wasn't my money, you know, like objectively, it was almost like it was a spectacle, almost like a circus. But, you know, it's my business, it's my baby, and we just put so much into that. And it was couldn't
just ignore you can ignore, let's say, online drama, but you can't ignore your bottom line and investment, of course.
Exactly. And like, we had a little spike afterwards, and it was like steadily, just slowly, like business just kept dropping off. But
so wild.
Man, it was brutal. It was I guess, you know, I learned the hard way about the other side of that sword. You know, it's a double-edged sword. It's a great thing, you know, you're on a TV show, you use your name for a promotional aspect, you know. But all of a sudden,
like, so naming it after the two of us, it was a great, it seemed like a real sweet idea at the time.
Yeah.
But what a target.
Yeah.
What a target.
Totally. And just like, also, there's a lot of pressure to be there constantly. If your name's on the side, people expect you to be there. And I am there a lot, but like, you know, it can be grueling being in the bar. It's glamorous on the surface, right? Having a bar, it sounds cool.
Everyone is like Sam Malone all the time from Cheers.
I feel like
seems amazing.
And it is really cool. Way more good than bad, you know? But it's like, it's now that I've seen behind the curtains.
Yeah.
It's a tough business, and I think I'm still naive, but I know just enough to fully understand why 2/3 of bars close within the first year, or 2/3 of restaurants. I think it's a rough statistic, but like, I get it, man. I've seen so many great places come and go, as I'm sure you have in the past 14 years being here. Great bars and restaurants, and What's my point here?
I've invested in it. I'm aware.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
You've dabbled in the industry.
I've dabbled in the
I think
industry.
everybody, if
Did it
you're
go
here
well?
long enough, you will invest in a bar or restaurant if you have a few bucks to spare.
The biggest scam, hey, dude, be part of this restaurant or be part of this bar. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to walk in and it's going to be like they're treating a mobster to a meal. I'm like, that doesn't work that way. Oh my gosh.
You're like, it's going to be like Goodfellas. I'm going to walk in, shake everybody's hand, kiss some babies.
Well, the dream is you're like, it's going to be like Cocktails and Dreams from the movie Cocktail with the greatest actor of all time, Tom Cruise.
We literally watched that for inspiration. Just like,
How many times have you seen Cocktail?
Probably like 20. Not crazy.
What? You know what? It's surprising that they haven't remade Cocktail.
They're gonna remake it with like Timothée Chalamet.
There's so much that you could. It's like
I'm calling it right now.
I mean, it seems like Timothée Chalamet is literally in every single movie. I'm like, and killing it. Dune is amazing.
Dune 2? Oh my God.
Dune 2 is spectacular.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin. Dude, Dune 2 is solid.
But yeah.
But you think of the idea of owning a bar as just being the sweetest, easiest gig ever. Oh, and then COVID happens.
Yeah.
Man. So what is you've got a great, by the way, I am clear, you are not the type that would just come in here belly aching about a bar. That's not, you have a great, it's not you. So you have got a sunny, I think I've been really blessed with a pretty sunny disposition. I would say a lot of it comes from two things. One is if I'm talking to a person, it gets me out of my head.
Yeah.
So normally, just the same way that we were saying that repetitive art process got you out of your head, if I'm talking to someone, I usually light up immediately. Oh man, I'm not even in my head right now. I'm talking to this guy. I can't even do two things at once. So even when I'm feeling low, that picks me up. But then I also feel like if anyone who has had, or let's just myself, I mean, I nearly kind of almost lost everything because of a drinking problem. I had 2 DUIs. I think my Jackie, I think, was just on the last possible bit of patience she had with me. And I think if it wasn't for how much she loves, let's say, God, it wasn't just the love for me was enough. It was like overall the love of this family, I think, gave her one more second where she's just in the most fierce, fearful voice, get your shit together. And I went to this rehab and it changed my life. And it was this, I have been to 3 rehabs in my life. 2 of them, man, were they sweet and so cushy. One I can't say enough great things about was Betty Ford in the desert. And it was amazing, but also I kind of enjoyed it. And
it sounds fun.
It was lovely. I loved it. And it helped, but then something, all of a sudden I kind of stopped thinking that was my absolute priority to take care of this. On the 3rd try, with a huge kick in the ass, that sent me to this place that's downtown. It's called the Dream Center. It's Christian based, and it's really strict, and it's really hardcore, and it's it's rigid. And I managed to find this like new, beautiful love of life. Yeah, it's the best thing that's happened to me. But you have to kind of hit a rock bottom. Are you describing something that was all the way to rock bottom, and then you have this new glow because you've seen that?
I don't think I've hit rock bottom yet. No.
Not rock bottom.
No,
but you've been punched.
Yeah, I've been punched, and just I've never dealt with professional adversity like that in my life. It's just like never ending. It's like a tsunami of just there's so many problems that go wrong on a day-to-day basis in a bar or restaurant. But like my partner always says, we're in the business of public perception, and our brand name, it was tainted. But we're powering through. And I gotta say, my disposition is a little sunnier than it was, but it got dark for a while there. I was like, I'm gonna lose a sizable investment. Like I could have bought a beautiful house in the valley. Instead, I decided to open a bar, and it was hard not to be bitter towards my partner, my dear friend, because it's like things were pretty cushy before then. But we're powering through.
They say that like resentments destroy people. Like if you, it's like there's a moment where probably you in your head, you're like, you son of a bitch, this is causing us massive problems. It's blowing back on both of us.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile with that?
I think just time, healing, time. We took some space apart from each other, but we have a great line of communication. Obviously, he's very contrite and he feels like horrible.
Yeah.
But never did he imagine something in his personal life would blow up and have such a negative impact on his professional life. Although we are on reality TV.
Yeah, but the backlash seems so much bigger than anything I would have predicted or any. It seemed. I mean, listen, it's a dog shit thing to do to cheat on somebody. Agreed.
Of course.
But it's also something that happens in a private relationship. It's like for anyone to get so judgmental about a private relationship, I think, or someone else's relationship. I just think, man, in life, Jackie taught me this, or it told me this the other day. In life, you were either humble or you're about to be humbled.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, how, like right before Kanye kind of got smashed, he's like, oh, who is the greatest? Who is the greatest? And then punched in the face, basically.
Yeah.
And do you, when you look back, do you think were either one of you, like nothing's ever going to take us, like, was there an ego thing?
I don't know. I don't think either of us was cocky. I definitely wasn't. I don't think Tom was either. We were just riding high. Like life was pretty cushy,
Couple of dummies.
Yeah,
just dummies being dummies.
Just like and just like happily working. We're on a TV show that's been on 12 years, 11 years, and things were like I was like going before the pandemic. Like I was so cushy. I was in love, married.
Oh yeah,
beautiful house, got the pool, the hot tub, like we talked about. I was chilling, but
if you have a pool and a hot tub, it's like water at different temperatures is just one of life's greatest pleasures.
And then it's like,
and it's everywhere.
Yeah. And then, life happened. Life comes at you quick, man. And got divorced. And then my dad was in the hospital for like 7 months, almost dying, like every other, getting transferred. And then my other brother got cancer. Then my other brother has been to rehab 3 times. And the third time, I don't know if I told you this.
You told me.
On the third time, my brother went, and they're like, he was full jaundice. He was rushed immediately to the hospital. They're like, he has full cirrhosis, liver failure. Like
brain.
No, just he had a full cirrhosis of the liver, and his just body was shutting down. None of us realized how bad it was.
How is he now?
Well, it's a fucking miracle. Thank you to Oshner and Dr. Baber in South Carolina. But because he was stamped hospice. I've talked about this, but he was like, they're like, your brother's toast. He's not going to make it. By the time, he gets another liver, he's going to be long dead. But through a series of very fortuitous events, he met this guy who believed in him. This one doctor is all it took. And he got him into Oshner by the grace of God.
What is that?
Oshner is like one of the top organ transplant centers in the entire nation. World-class facility. And he ended up having a universal blood type, so he could accept almost any liver. And at the buzzer, I was with him by his side, and like he was as yellow as like your shirt there. By the grace of God, or all the miracle of modern medicine, he got a liver at the buzzer, and he's still alive. So it's like I'm gonna go see him this weekend. Actually,
is he gonna drink again?
No, he came out here, and we had this was something.
Yeah,
this was I was at such a moral dilemma here because he came out here, and the only thing he wanted to do was go to Tom and Schwartz and Sandy's, their bar or restaurants, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea to be in that habitat, in that environment where people. Exactly. But he went in it, and I took him, and I was, a helicopter brother, but like he had zero temptation. He ended up having the best time of his life.
How old is he?
He's 37, but he's got a whole new lease on life. Papa's got a brand new bag, and he's still healing. He's still in recovery. It's been almost a year.
Okay.
But he's got his strength back, and like, just that.
Does he have a program?
Yeah. Yes, he has an online program he does every week.
Okay.
But he's doing pretty damn good, Tyler. I'm just so grateful that none of my family members are in the hospital right now. So I'm rejoicing in that. And it makes everything else in life seem a lot more manageable. Like the bar, things we're dealing with there. But like when
he was stamped hospice.
Fully. Yeah.
That's a miracle.
He was toast. That's a
glorious miracle. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
God rocks.
So yeah.
Well, now he's got to do new. But if he's in a program, he now has to. If he wants to continue it, he has to reach out and help other people. So he should. I'm assuming if he wants to stay successful, then he's probably doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's the sweet stuff. Is when you can then get well enough to then help other people. That's the sweet stuff.
Yeah. I want to get successful enough.
Connect me with your brother. I want to talk to him about this. That's a great story.
Yeah, no, so I've been riding high on that, and overall things are pretty good. I don't know. I'm thinking about like coming out of this. I think I'm still too close to it to have any profound advice or life
You're
lessons
looking at
learned.
a sign that says "Advice is dumb." you're looking at a piece of art. That
I
says,
literally was. Oh, that's so funny.
This is. I feel like this is one of my. We have a motto here, and I think that try not to give advice, but I'm like very unlimited curious about things that have worked for other people, or even things that have really not worked for other people. And I find that when I'm giving advice, then it's just moron camp. But if I'm asking questions or going through something, then I don't know. That to me, then I think I'm helping, or being, in some ways, being of service, or at least making this a productive conversation.
Yeah.
But if once I start giving advice, like I do with you, when I'm like, dude, you should be a stand-up comedian. Listen, take whatever you want from that.
No, honestly, I appreciate any input or advice or sage wisdom you would ever impress upon me. I always appreciate your time, your energy, and I love that you always check in. You might not talk for like 6 months, maybe even a year, but you always check in on me eventually, and I appreciate that, Tyler.
Listen,
I do.
Awesome.
Because I just appreciate you and everything you've accomplished. This is fucking cool, man.
Thanks, dude. I
You're living your dream.
Living the dream.
You're living your dream. Like, this has got to be one of your wildest dreams.
My grandfather was an artist. My grandfather loved art, and after he finished a career, he then became an artist, and he even had some art shows. And I remember seeing his studio, and I just thought it was like the coolest, most exciting thing. And I've always thought the life of an artist is something that I wanted. It does come with a tremendous amount of anxiety and a tremendous amount of, all of that. And you can, and I've learned over time, the thing that, if I want to make it a bad day, I'll start comparing myself to other artists. Even if I think it's a good idea and I compare myself to other artists that are losers, then I'll eventually start realizing, oh man, but I am a loser compared to others.
Yeah.
So that's one of the few kind of rules, which is I try to just acknowledge I am at a point, I'm at a point where I would have been excited to know that I was doing this as a kid.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I would be like, cool, that's what you're going to do? Awesome.
I remember I saw this it was like in some like cool restaurant or something. It was like, remember what you wanted, what you currently have. And I kind of do have that. I've always dreamed about being on a show. I didn't imagine it being a reality television show.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a cool procedural, like CSI Miami type of vibe.
Oh yeah, because you moved out here to
be
act.
I never wanted to be like a movie star. I just wanted to be a television star. Or not even a star, a working actor. That's all I ever wanted to be.
Like a brother in a sitcom.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
About another character.
/ artist, writing movies, maybe making art, and just living in Los Angeles. And I don't know. I think I'm close to some sort of dream. I'm happy. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I got to say I'm super grateful for everything that I've been so lucky to be a part of. Who gets to be on a television show for 10 years with a group of people that are actually your friends?
A decade.
Like, we were all friends before the show.
Yeah.
And then some new people came on. We met Lala and James, and we all became really tight. But we're truly friends, like family. It's love and hate and everything in between. But isn't that cool? How often does that happen?
It's amazing.
Lightning in a bottle.
It truly is lightning in a bottle because this was a real thing.
Yeah.
You were were you all living in one house?
Well, me, Jax, and Tom lived together. Jax had the living room partitioned off with the famous sheet.
Dude, that guy seems so. intense and aggressive as he seemed?
He's not. Well, it's like when he's hot, he's hot.
Seems hilarious.
He gets a little hot.
intense.
He is. He's got a really good heart, and he's a good dude. I mean, he's got a good Midwest upbringing. He's just sometimes he goes a little off the rails. You know, he gets a little hot headed. He shoots first, asks questions later. Yeah. He's aware of all this, and he's putting in the work.
You need one friend like that. Only one.
He's intense, but I still love him, and he's like one of the first people I met in LA. So he was in there. Also, Tom was dating Kristen at the time, who was also an OG cast member. Okay. She was living in there with him. So it was like 4 of us in this tiny little 1,200 square foot apartment in West Hollywood, just south of Melrose there. But who would have thunk, man?
Wait, was there like a fifth Beatle? Was there anyone that was living with you, but then I was like, I'm going to get my own place, and then moved out like the wrong time?
That's interesting.
Like, did you have a fifth Beatle?
No, we don't. That's great, though. I love the way you phrased that. We don't. But we were all, like, we hung out too much. I think we smothered each other, but we were together almost every day. And all dating each other's best friends.
I want your codependency to meet my codependency.
Yeah.
And we'll be in love. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, there's a third clank.
Now that I'm further away and, like I said, I'm not where I want to be exactly, but, I've had some success. But, whenever we get together, we're quick to romanticize the early days. Although they were a fucking grind, when I was painting shoes with you and I didn't know how the hell I was going to pay rent every month. It was still so fun, and we always found a way. You would
take any gig back then. You would take any gig. You were such a hustler.
Yeah, I was a hustler.
I don't think even kids. I don't think people have the same type of, dude, I'm just gonna hustle and I'm gonna get by attitude. And it's also so much more expensive just to live in LA.
Yeah.
That I unfortunately think a lot of that's gonna be weeded out.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know how anyone's grind. I mean, you have to really grind just to afford a place in the valley or something.
Totally. Or just get like a lot of roommates.
Or a lot of roommates, which is so much fun.
It is fun. As long as you're not 40. Not that I'm judging if you have roommates and you're 40.
If you have roommates and you're 40, you're probably having a great time.
Step Brothers-esque.
Or you are a raging alcoholic.
But it's like, I asked you earlier where you got the audacity, and you gave me a great response. I'm like, I wonder where I got the audacity to pack up my Honda Civic and my $3,300 bonus from my liquor distributor job and drive across the country. I just somehow believed in myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to find a way to make it. That's one thing that's never really been portrayed, because I'm kind of like, I don't know, kind of like a lovable idiot on the show. And I've botched a lot of different gigs and ambitions, but I really hustled my ass off out here. I worked so hard. And anyways, I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
No, but you are portrayed as, I wouldn't say a lovable idiot, but in some ways just a jovial goof.
And that is part of who I am. That's real.
100%.
There's layers to me too.
There's a Labrador there, this Labrador. But yeah, you have always respected a grind, or just getting after it. It's probably, how many jobs have you even said no to in your life?
Making me sound like a whore.
No. Listen, maybe
I did not work in the brothel that was here before you took over the studio.
This studio was a brothel. It was so I didn't show you. We have 2 empty steam rooms that supposedly this place was a brothel, and supposedly John Wayne would come in here and get hand jobs, and that's yeah.
I saw some John Wayne art upstairs. So you've at least vaguely alluded to the history in here. That's cool.
Of course.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Do you remember when after your divine intervention, do you remember I know you said you were messing with some drugs and alcohol during that time, but do you remember one of your first pieces of art you ever did after the divine intervention, or that moment of clarity? Do you remember or no?
100%.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought the look in your eyes said, no, I don't.
No, I remember it so well. I was living in an apartment.
Yeah.
And I went to the art store and bought I just was feeling it. I bought a canvas that was 4 feet by 4 feet. And I said, I was, really kind of talking. I go, if this is a thing, Listen, let's see how this one project goes. If this is a thing, dude.
Don't make me look like an idiot.
Yeah, listen. And if it doesn't go well, which is not really what you should do. Like if you're given a divine, then you shouldn't all of a sudden turn and be like, what do you got?
Everybody sucks at first. For anybody listening right now, you're going to suck every time you start a new venture.
One piece that I made, I went up to this roof and it was windy. And I even purchased supplies that weren't necessary. Looking back, they were very inappropriate. It was like acrylic paints for ceramics, not acrylic paint for paintings. And I just had this huge canvas and I killed it.
You did.
I still have it. It's one of my favorite pieces. Of all the time I've been painting, it's one of my favorites.
Have you ever showed the public that piece, or is that private? Sacred?
I've showed it at shows, and people have tried to buy it.
Can I see it later?
It's not that it's not for sale. They just didn't, it's like I haven't sold it for I don't have it on. I mean, I'll show you a photo later or something. If I can
we'll get it, maybe an insert for the pod.
Yeah.
Because I want to see it.
For the pod. Yeah, of course.
That's a powerful piece.
I'll put it in.
It's kind of priceless.
I'm hoping that I don't sell it.
Yeah.
Listen, I have had plenty of moments where I'm like, I just need any quantity of money, and I'll take, and every now and then I have a friend that kind of knows when I get, and then he'll just buy a bunch of stuff. And I have normally held the line with this one piece. But yeah, that one time it went over. So it'd be like if you're like, dude, I'm just going to go to the Comedy Store, and you went, and I was like, dear God, funniest guy in the world.
I haven't had that. I don't think I'll ever have that moment, but I do remember my art piece that gave me the confidence to stay in this town. It was, there was two. The first print job, which seems so silly, but it's hard to get a decent agent and get a decent, like a real print job, because it's so hyper competitive and so saturated out here. And listen, I'm okay looking, but like, I'm not, like, I would walk in a room and see some of the most beautiful human beings I've ever witnessed on this planet. But I remember I booked an A6 print job, and it was $500, and I lied and said that my shoe size, that I could fit into a sample size shoe, which was 9.5, and I'm 11.5. And by the end of the day, my toenails fell off. 2 toenails fell off. But I didn't give a shit because I was so grateful to be working that A6 job. I can show you that one too. And then the other one was a Kohl's commercial. It was one of the I'm telling you, these, like, the competition for this Kohl's commercial, the campaign was Think Pink. And I saw like dudes I recognized from like other commercials and like TV shows. Like that I saw bit parts on TV shows and like famous Abercrombie model dudes. And I just was like, dude, I'm so out of my league in here. And I ended up booking it. And I was like, whoa, maybe I can do this. After seeing like there's 100 dudes in there, really handsome, like dudes that have work on a regular basis. But it only takes like one person to believe in you, you know?
It really does.
One person can change the course of your whole life, your whole career, for better or for worse.
If you believe in yourself, though, that's enough. If you believe in yourself, though,
it's been wavering lately. But today I'm excited about everything.
Today, reading another thing. Today I'm excited about everything. I have this buddy. His name's Justin Mayo, and he posted this years ago. He runs something called I think it's like the Watts Empower. He's this kind of not nerdy white guy, but it's like he's just, anyway, he is not what you would expect, and he runs this huge rec center in Watts, and he's built it and developed it, and he's just done amazing.
It's his baby,
and he's so positive. And I saw him post this today. I'm excited about everything, and I feel if you can just say that every now and then, it probably raises the bar a little bit.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I'm like, I think I'm have just the right amount of cynicism in me, but like I'm not cynical at all. But like I think I'm pretty excited about everything most of the week, which I'm grateful to be able to say.
It is possible in any. Do you study the Stoics, by the way?
Yeah, I just bought The Obstacle Is the Way with Ryan Holiday. I love that book.
That guy is so great.
I listen
Ryan
to his
Holiday.
podcast. I have his meditations book that's like every day there's a different
Marcus
quote.
Aurelius.
Yeah, but he like condensed all the best stuff from the Stoics, and he has these little blurbs that you can read every day. 360.
Follow that.
I forget the name of the book, but it's a great way to start your day.
The Obstacle Is the Way.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the other books. I've checked out a couple books. I love his little. You know what? I've had a great time doing. So, my kids are 8 and 6, and my son, when we get in the car, he'll go play the Stoics, and we'll listen to different quotes from the Stoics, and then I'll talk about he'll talk about what they mean, and I'll talk about what they mean. And I'm like, man, I wish that any of this would have been in my head at that age. Yeah. So Ryan Holiday is amazing. I hope that I can have Ryan Holiday on my podcast one day.
That would be huge.
Yeah.
I love his podcast, and every time after I'm done listening, I usually hike and listen to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do it when I'm in a bad mood. He's like kind of like my I don't know, my de facto therapist.
Priest or something?
No, it's like I always feel so much better after I go and listen to him. If you've never heard of him, check him out. I promise it'll enhance your day.
Yeah. The Daily Stoic.
The Daily Stoic.
Yeah. No, it's one of the largest sources of other than the Bible. It's like one of the largest sources of inspiration, and it really does. If it can sink in just a little bit, that you have control over the thoughts that go through your mind, and at the very least, how you respond to things. That's what's important. It's like you can't necessarily control things, but you can control how you respond to things. And then the program that I'm in, that's what it's all about. Is some things you just got to accept. Other things you got to accept that you need to ball up and deal with or change. And then maybe you're too stupid to figure out what the difference is. And you're like, man, I just need to pray that. I mean, that's all so much of this whole thing that I spend almost all this time focusing on comes down to those three things practically. And Marcus Aurelius, it's so crazy that over 2,000 years, I can't remember exactly what year he was, but like around 2,000 years ago, that this guy was running the biggest empire in the world and was having some of this exact same thoughts we had and came up with these solutions. And just, and how relatable they are to this day and age is relevant. Just as relevant. It's good shit. And if it's a problem of the barbarians are coming and they're getting closer, or my wife is upset about this and we need to get a new fridge. It's like you can let either one of those things ruin your day, or you can just be like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this, or I'm just gonna have to accept that the barbarians are coming, or it's only a few choices. I'm disappointed at how many days I let the bar ruin after the whole. Explain. Just the way I responded to adversity. To be concise about it, like I let so many worst case scenarios just completely consume me to the point where I would either like spend the day at home or like just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna drink today. Just because like I can't even deal with this. I can't even deal with like about to be on the verge of losing $500,000 and having my reputation like permanently damaged. Yeah, I'm gonna be the laughing stock of society. Like I'm it's over. Just like really intense bouts of negativity. Everyone's gonna hate me. Everyone hates me. They already do. But then it would be like my own confirmation bias would be confirmed when I would go online, and I know better than to Google me, even during the best of times. But like after that, it got dark. I had never, because I was pretty likable on the show overall. But since I kind of knew about this whole thing, it's like I was guilty by association. But it was weird having a deluge of hate coming at you on a daily basis. Strange. It was like being on an acid trip, and not a good one. Dude, I one of my friends I love so dearly. He had there's some cheating. It's an understatement. There's some cheating, and when it came out, I was so grateful that I wasn't ever pulled into the thing. I was like, it would have stressed me the F out. Oh God. I'm like, my character got assassinated again. This is not victim's mentality, Would I have changed the way I handled it if I could go back and do it again? Of course. But I just was so consumed in my own life. I was just, almost indifferent to what was going on. Well, what did you do? You need to tell. You're going to have to tell on yourself. Like, were you like, I need you to tell on yourself. I don't know, honestly. I need you to tell on yourself. I would have been more proactive and probably intervened a little bit more. That was when my dad was like,
everything, my life was just falling apart.
Nobody's going through. Nobody doing that is gonna listen and be like, "Oh, you're right. I'm gonna." It's very. I can think of a few times where I've seen people that I love acting reckless.
Yeah.
And saying something, and it hurt a friendship for a period of time. Only very few examples of them making a change.
Yeah. And I did that. I mean, I would intervene sometimes. Like, this is, I don't want to rehash that because it's like we're finally way past that now. So it feels good.
Yeah.
It's a
I get
off. But yeah, that was just 2023 was like.
Is that the year?
It was the best of times. I went to I got to do also like there was a lot of positive things. I got to do like other TV. I went and filmed a show in Australia called Stars on Mars. I went to Mars, and it was fucking crazy.
How was that?
It was an absolute trip. It was it was one of the most delightful little excursions of my entire life because they flew us out first class, top of the line hotels, and I got to work with like some world class producers and a very talented just team overall. But like I was waking up in this cool like habitat that looked like a Mars analog, and it's like, dude, I got fucking Marshawn Lynch in there, Lance Armstrong. Fucking just all kinds of Porsche from like it was such a great crew. Tinashe was in there. I got to hang out with Tinashe on a daily basis and go and do like these cool little missions, and it was like the best reprieve from just like the toxicity that I was kind of going through back home. But I took the good with the bad. A lot of cool things happened, but anyways,
I think Lance Armstrong is amazing, and I'm sure he probably more than anyone would be he would be a dream guest because like he has been hit so hard from such a high place, and
totally
I think a lot of this was very unreasonable. It's like seems like everybody was cheating, and probably part of that winning is that you got to keep it a secret. So not that lying is good, but I don't know that I would have done anything different. I mean, I hate to say it, but if I was in a sport, it's almost like in soccer, part of it is you have to pretend that you were like knocked down.
Yeah.
Right? You like exaggerate it. I kind of thought of it as like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I was like, who better to offer me some sort of wisdom than Lance, who had gone through pretty much the whole entire country turning on him. Kind of. Not
like
gonna
Lance, it's been really hard, and he's like, dude, shut up.
The whole world. But I remember sometimes because he didn't really know what Vanderpump Rules was, but he was talking. You would talk to his wife and kids every day, which he'd get a cup of Joe, and then they would inform him what was going on in our little world, and he'd be like, buddy, come over here. He's like, are you good? This is not looking good for you or your friend.
Oh my God.
I know, man. He's like, trust me, I can relate, but you guys are down in the dumps, and we had some laughs about it, but. That would be the guru that you needed at that moment. Yeah. But like, anyways, long story short, it was a lot of good things happened last year too. But
people without real kind of beatings in their story, everyone has some degree of beating.
Yeah.
It just doesn't interest me to have conversations with someone that hasn't really kind of seen a gutter a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
I've seen behind the curtains, like I said. Yeah, man.
You've been punching the balls.
Yes. I love that you guys are still like. Every time I open Instagram, I see you going on a new cool adventure with the family or your friends.
We go on adventures.
Yeah, like I remember when you told me one of you and your buddies like decided to just go across the country on like a road trip on like mopeds or maybe I forget or an RV, and I was like, that sounds. I wish I could do
mopeds.
That. Mopeds.
I went with my buddy Army and my brother Ashton and some other couple of Italian brothers. There were 10 of us.
Yeah.
And we rode mopeds from LA all the way to the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
In winter. And
that's awesome.
It was the coldest winter of 10 years at the time. And we only camped.
Yeah.
That was the rule. We could only camp. Or if a weirdo that we met would take in 10 of us, we could do that. We had all these crazy, wild adventures, and it took a month. It was a month of traveling across the country, 4,000 miles.
That's so cool. That's one thing. See, I understand. I've committed to this project, and I'm so devoted to the bar. but it's like it kind of kills your spontaneity. I can't just up and dip out for a month. You know what I mean? Eventually, I will be able to again, but like right now, I need to be there.
How long can you dip out?
I'll dip out for like 3-4 days at a time, which it feels like a great luxury. It's such a treat, and I recharge and I come back and I'm like, all right, let's go. Operation Schwartz and Sandy's 2.0.
Yeah.
Let's rock. But
Have you ever been to India?
No.
Have you ever been to Japan?
No.
So I feel.
Yes, I've been to Tokyo and Kyoto. What am I thinking?
How did you forget that?
I didn't. I was like, when you said, I kind of got fixated on India because I've always wanted to go there. But
India's incredible.
I would say Tokyo's top 5 favorite places I've ever been in my life. Maybe top 3.
Spectacular. So different than this place.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's on another world.
Yeah.
Another dimension. I had the best time ever. Ate the best food, and just sort of absorbed myself in their culture. And I'm so happy. I wish I could do that more. I'll get back there. Back there.
Going to Tokyo, you're like, man, this is really traveling. Like this is different.
Yeah.
India, in the other direction of a vibe, is equally. Boy, I really feel like I traveled kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are 2 trips. Have you ever been to Burning Man?
No.
That's also pretty good for the spirit.
My friends go every year, and I think I forget the name of their camp, but he's a DP. He helped us with the lighting at Schwartz and Sandy. His name's Aaron.
Wow.
He also has a really delicious coffee liqueur called Mario's.
Okay.
It's a family recipe. He's crushing it right now.
Really?
But anyways, every year they build like art installations and cars and all. Like I helped them on their last one. It was Apocalypse Meow, and it was like this golf cart with like a cat face, and it had a whole mushroom cloud coming out of it, DJ on top.
Yeah.
That seems so fascinating to me. I go to like festivals, once or twice a year. But
Burning Man is great.
do you still go?
I've only been twice. Yeah. I haven't been in a few years, and I've been once in the maximum debauchery, and I've been a second time, and on the drive there, Jackie said, "Hey, guess what? I'm pregnant," and so I had this like really clear, wholesome experience, and that was even more fun than the debaucherous.
Wow.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. But I mean, that's at the end of the summer. You should just carve yourself out a couple of days and get there.
Is this my sign? You
This
guys,
is your sign.
It's the first time in 11 years that I've had a summer off because Vanderpump Rules has postponed filming.
Yeah.
Hopefully not indefinitely, but I think the show needed to breathe. It just needed to breathe. So I have the summer off right now.
You'll have a ball. It's the end of August, early September.
That's perfect.
Yeah, do it, dude.
I'm scared to commit.
People wear costumes every day, and there's so many. You could have any experience that you're interested in having. I think it's so great.
Yeah.
If I was Tom Schwartz, that's what I would do.
I wonder if I would be able to fully let loose there and just.
I think I could crush being Tom Schwartz. By the way, if I were to take over your life for a short period of time, I'd just crush it. I'd be like, listen, I'd rack up 5 appearances at the Comedy Store under your belt. I'd be like, what else would I do? Oh my gosh, I'd make so many great decisions as Tom Schwartz. That's the myth that you could make better decisions than someone else. Is the myth.
Tyler Ramsey takeover. I will love it. You want to take over for a week?
Being Tom Schwartz instead of being John Malkovich.
Oh man.
I hope. Hey, by the way, so this is Painful Lessons podcast. There's two people are learning painful lessons at this moment. They're so different from each other. Tell me if you have any advice for either of these 2 people. One is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He recently is
indicted.
Yeah, and convicted of things.
Yeah, convicted.
What advice would you give Donald Trump going through a tough time?
I don't have any. Man, I'm just trying to make it through the day right now, Tyler. I don't have any advice for Mr. Trump right now.
So you're saying Donald Trump, be yourself. Is that accurate?
Donald Trump, advice is dumb.
Okay, amazing. What about Hunter Biden? Is there anything? Because he also was just convicted of 3 things.
I saw that. So I was like, I intake the news in moderation, but I skim the headlines.
It's called media diet.
I'm on a media diet, but I listen to my NPR. Man, that guy, I'm excited to read the memoir. Hunter Biden's memoir is going to be insane.
Yeah.
If he ever drops one. Do you know? I know just enough about him and what he's going through, man. It's like he used to get after it. He has some crazy stories.
I root for anyone that has come through the other side of an addiction. So even if someone has created massive wreckage, I still like stories of someone. So I root for anybody.
You can really empathize with that because you did.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody.
Let me think about my advice for Trump and Biden.
Dear Trump, I think that you just keep your head up. You got this.
Dear Biden, maybe don't get into the bar business right now.
Do you know who looks like they have tons of fun are Trump's kids? Like Don Jr. is like the sportsman. Yeah. And he's I follow such a wide variety of people. So this isn't, I'm not even declaring a political statement on any of this. No. But Don Jr. is always showing photos of duck hunting with his kids, and he just seems like he has a blast. And then I saw something of his daughter like wakeboarding behind. I'm like, that's a good time. That's an amazing time. And Biden, I mean, listen, it looks like he had as much fun as Charlie Sheen had for a while. And then
he was on a tear.
Yeah, and then and I love that he's an artist. Although some people imply that it's a tax scam. I don't know. I've seen his art. It's kind of cool.
I want to see Biden's art.
So far I think that I enjoy the children of both presidential candidates.
Did not see you going in that direction.
They seem pretty cool.
Yeah, they seem pretty fucking cool.
I like that we got a real wild card in Hunter Biden, and I love that Don Jr. seems like a real great dad. Seems like a great dad.
We need a reality show, Tyler. You got to get back in the game.
Yeah, man, jeez.
You have a vision.
I do miss.
Yeah.
There are things I really miss about reality. One is the camaraderie of a set on a reality show is very unique because it's different than a music video or a film. And the reason it's different is because you're always fishing. Man, we're all on a boat together, us and the crew, and we're just watching. We'll see if we catch a fish today. You want a big story to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that there's something that seems crazy, which I saw a video where Jax said, "Oh, all this stuff is scripted," and I am aware that only shitty shows rely on making something happen. Yeah, because you guys aren't actors. I mean, listen, even though you have an acting background, to depend that that's going to come across in a way that's authentic is folly.
Totally. And if you watch the last 2 seasons of Vanderpump Rules, if we were performing, then everybody on that show deserves an Academy Award or an Oscar.
Yeah.
It would be up there with like Daniel Day-Lewis level acting. Better. It would be better.
Great reference.
Like Jax retracted that and apologized.
He did?
Just like drinking, and he was upset that day. He was on the show. He knows it's not fake because it's like storylines have cost him gravely. Like, and I witnessed, the aftermath firsthand.
How does anyone say the volume of words that any of you say without coming across as an either almost? I mean, the amount of just holes that you create for yourself if you just talk long enough is absurd.
Yeah. I think my friend Tom Sandoval found that out the hard way when he did his New York Times interview. But he just was a rambling fool, like stream of conscious, and ended up saying some really dumb stuff that cost him dearly. But yeah, case in point.
Hey man, I'm just gonna roll here. I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah, but he gave context to it, and it's okay now. But yeah, man, I know we've all said a lot of dumb things,
and without context.
Yeah,
that is absurd too. Just oh my God.
I love it though. I've had such a great time, and I feel so just lucky to be on a show with my friends that I love for this long. And do you think you'll ever get back into the game, reality television?
It's so funny. I right now I am pitching a show, and it is a show where celebrities come and they discuss which animal would win between one and another. It's a nature show. right?
That's funny.
And then the idea is we're going to, and I have a great clip for it.
Yeah.
And here, actually, let me ask you, who would win, and tell me why? Who would win between let's see, I want to give like a good one.
Like
a wolverine
Ooh.
and a honey badger. Who would win?
Wow.
It's a pretty even competition.
That is going to be neck and neck.
I'm going to ask you two different battles.
That's the fight of the century. I mean, both have kind of like gnarly, nefarious reputations. Like they're hard, they're scrappy, and let's see. I don't know. Can I Google this?
They're about the same size. Okay, tell me
Yeah.
two animals that you, all right, tell me a matchup that you think would be exciting.
Two animals I'd love to see fight. Well, for Theoretically, thank you.
Yeah.
Don't want PETA coming after me.
No.
Let's see. Two animals I would love to see fight. How about like a polar bear and a hippopotamus?
Listen,
Full grown hippopotamus and a starving adult polar bear.
that's a great battle.
No holds barred.
A polar bear is,
Pay-per-view.
oh my God. It would be, listen, by the way, we should continue saying this. No one is suggesting that we want any animals to hurt each other. But theoretically, a polar bear against a hippo would be maybe one of the hippos, by the way, are very fast.
I would be front row, cold beer.
Like Colosseum. This would be like a Roman Colosseum, all tickets sold kind of event.
This is like fucking Rumble in the Jungle.
So polar bears, by the way, are equipped to, like, they have all the weapons that you need to fight an animal that is your size or bigger.
Yeah.
They're not. There's nothing. They're the pinnacle. Like they're the. If anyone is an apex predator, it is a polar bear.
If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night.
Oh, okay.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
You're getting eaten
In
If
the
a polar bear
water
wants to
or
eat
out
you-
of the water.
Yeah.
A hippo has a bite force. A hippo can almost bite a crocodile in half.
Yeah.
And crocodiles are no joke. A 12-foot crocodile in Egypt is like, what is it, crocodile or alligator? Yeah, crocodile in Egypt against a hippo. The hippo will always win.
I think smart money's on the hippo here.
You think, okay, hippos are faster than people.
They're so fast.
Yeah. Okay, so the weapons that a hippo has is that it's only though. Oh, it's good at stomping.
Yeah. Very territorial and aggressive.
If you mess with their kid, done for.
Done.
So, but it has that great mouth that can open 180 degrees. How does that happen? And it just can, if it gets a hold of a polar bear. But here's the thing: would it be able to? Polar bear is so thick.
Yeah.
Unless it like bit a polar bear's arm or head off, I think the polar bear would keep coming back. But what's a polar bear even going to bite it, scratch it? That hippo probably is going to just, it's going to shake all of that off.
I've seen the docs where the polar bears do take on massive, like 2,000-pound walruses with tusks.
Yeah.
You know, this is nice.
But sometimes they're gnawing at them for a while. It's not like a full size one, because we're talking about two full sizes, right?
This is for everybody listening. This is what we did before YouTube for the younger generation. If you're listening, before we could go look at clips online,
This was 1 year of conversations. This is my relationship with my son for a year.
That's awesome. Wait, can I just join your family?
Yeah.
We're gonna listen to Stoicism and talk about hypothetical beast.
Those are topics I totally dig in for. Okay, wait. So I think if I don't think either one of them will just lose the energy and fall down. I think this is ultimately going to be about the polar bear just going on and on at the hippo. Maybe the hippo can knock him down and kind of stomp on his head, but most likely the polar bear is going to end up ripping the thing apart. If it's to the death, I think the polar bear probably will win.
Polar bear perseveres. I think it has more endurance for sure.
Oh yeah, because it's made. No, polar bears have great endurance because they're made to swim forever.
They can swim like hundreds of miles, which is wild.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Lance
excited
Armstrong couldn't bike it. I mean, it's like this is. I think we're saying the polar bear is going to win. Hippos probably aren't equipped to just fight and fight and continue fighting forever. No. I think they're
gassing out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, gassing out exactly is what's going to happen. It's like I have friends and I have this one buddy and his girlfriend. Anytime she drinks, oh man, just goes. At one point in the night, she'll just go at him, but she gasses out quickly. Yeah, that's what happens.
We've all seen it.
Dude, you are a delight.
Tyler, this is nice, man.
Yeah, I'm so happy you came by.
I don't know what I'm going to do with all the inspiration I've gotten for being in your studio today. I don't want to waste it.
Well, what's on your mind right now in terms of like, other than your gig at the bar, what creative thing? You said writing?
I'm big into side quests right now. The World Series of Poker is going on right now. I've been an avid poker player my entire life. I was supposed to play 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't because I needed to be at the bar.
Okay.
So, okay. The bar's my priority, but I'd like to play at least 1 or 2 events in the World Series of Poker. Also,
where does that take place?
It takes place in Las Vegas.
But what area?
It takes place in the Paris.
Okay.
You know where the Paris is?
Yeah.
Also, like I have 2 blank canvases. Maybe they're like 3 feet by 4 feet, chilling in my apartment right now.
Bring them here.
I got paint, and I was like, I want to do something.
Bring them here and get after it.
1 a year. They're usually ass, but like it feels good. It feels like I'm getting something out.
But instead of painting at your apartment where you're nervous, come be free here.
That sounds awesome.
Bring it over. Come over anytime.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, we'll have a ball. But this poker thing, because that seems fun, and you don't seem to like you have the type of addictive where you're going to become a gambling idiot.
No.
Hey, by the way, do you know that I painted like a giant mural that is in front of the Wynn Casino? It was for the Wynn.
Wait, is it up there still?
It's on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's right in front of the Wynn.
I got to see a picture of this.
Yeah, because you're a winner. Winners stay at the Wynn. That's the deal. I mean, the Fontainebleau Hotel, I feel, made a run for like, dude, get ready. There's a new best hotel in town. And it doesn't look like they have taken the crown. And that's an understatement.
I stayed there. It's lovely. The spa is insane.
It's amazing.
Really,
but the
really
Wynn,
nice.
I listen, I'm aware it's amazing, but you're competing with the ultimate. I think the Wynn and the Encore are as great as it gets.
So we're going to Vegas.
We're going to Vegas. I'm excited for you to do this for Vegas.
Well, this is nice, brother.
All right, awesome.
It's good to see you.
And cut.